A group of Wisconsin Republican lawmakers has written a series of bills this year aimed at helping students manage the high cost of higher education. Governor Walker has also offered plans to address the affordability issue, but can the state afford those plans? We're asking Republican Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald. Senator, it's good to have you on the program.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
So can we afford the college affordability package that's been offered at the state level?
Well, I think when the governor rolled them out in the State of the State speech, many of us knew that there were some new numbers coming out that might make it more difficult. The rumor was that things were going to be a little bit tighter than what we imagined, and they are. And as a result of that, not only the student loan provisions, but a lot of initiatives I think are going to be much tougher to get through in the final months here in the legislature just because of the price tag that's associated with them. But there are some things that don't cost any money related to student loans that we think dovetail in well with some of the things they're looking at in Congress. And if we can get those across the finish line here, I think we'll do them. We'll deal with this issue.
But it will be scaled down greatly from what was originally proposed?
It will. It will. Originally, the total cost was in excess of $10 million. I think we're going to be closer to about a $2 million price tag, which probably is palatable for most of our members and something they can support.
This points to the larger issue, and that is the tightness of the state's fiscal situation. How concerned are you about that?
Well, we're still in good shape. I mean, we've got $280 million in our rainy day fund. We've got $65 million in our statutory balance. So it's not like a red flag. It's just when you're talking about initiatives and certain things that you wanted to accomplish in this legislative session, I think some of those are going to have to be pared back, and that's what we're doing. We're being conservative and taking a look at what are the priorities.
I want to talk about something that the Senate did last week. You passed legislation that would create online registration for voters, but it also has a provision in it that some groups like Common Cause and the League of Women Voters don't like, which essentially says we're going to end these voter registration drives by civic groups. Explain the rationale for having that provision added to the online registration, which seems to have the support of most people.
It is. Online registration will obviously allow, and it was bipartisan, that provision, will allow more people to simply access the individual records they need to make sure they're in good shape when they go in to vote. That provision that somehow is being characterized as somehow we're eliminating or reducing the amount of people that can go out and assist when it comes to voting, I would say is just the opposite. What we've done is we've said anybody can go out and do this at this point. If you've got a tablet and you have access to the websites that ultimately the Government Accountability Board will have in place, that anyone can go out there and do the same thing that this very specific group had been doing in the past. Yeah, there were some accusations that somehow we were trying to limit the amount of people that could go and vote, but I say no, let's open it up to everybody, and I think this bill does that.
The argument that you hear from folks, though, is that if you're talking about low-income, low-education voters, do they really have tablets? I mean, are we being a little naive in our expectations about the technology that's available to people who are struggling to get by?
Yeah, but if the League of Women Voters want to certainly even expand the amount of people they reach out to, that's allowable under this bill. As a matter of fact, it's encouraged. So as technology changes, and the legislature is always slow to embrace those changes, I think this bill kind of forces it, and I think it makes sense in the long run.
I want to ask you about another piece of legislation that's gotten some buzz about it, and this is the one that essentially stops what you call double dipping by elected officials. So if you're a county executive, you can't also be a lawmaker. And people say, a state lawmaker, and people are saying, well, this is designed to stop Mark Harris or discourage Mark Harris, the Democratic candidate running for the state Senate. That is targeted specifically at him. What's your response to that?
Well, Mark Harris makes $103,000 a year as the Winnebago County exec right now, and he has made it public that he's going to run for the state Senate. And right now, everyone assumes that he still intends to serve in both positions. The problem with the county execs serving in those two slots is that the counties are created by the state constitution. They are agents of the state. They execute the programs that the state legislature puts in place. So we've had concerns about this in the past, and Harris is just the latest example. But, you can't vote no on a bill on Tuesday in the state legislature and then on Wednesday go back to your county board slot and veto something that the county board might vote aye on. So there are conflicts everywhere with this. Bob Ziegelbauer, longtime
I was going to ask you about that. People would
Yeah.
say that, when he was serving as county executive in the state legislature and voting with Republicans, why didn't you offer this legislation then?
I think there were a lot of concerns. I think it was almost about a 6-year period when Bob Ziegelbauer was doing both jobs. And there were times where people thought he should have recused himself from voting on certain things that had a direct effect on Manitowoc County. That's kind of the best example of when legislators really got concerned about this. But the latest round with the double dipping in the bill that I hope to have on the floor next week, I think it'll just make it clear. We're not saying that Mark Harris can't run for the state Senate. We're just saying you can't hold both positions at the same time.
The Senate Majority Leader, Scott Fitzgerald, joining us again today. It's good to have you back on the program.
Thanks, Mike.
You bet. Next on Up Front, what we're watching for on election night, Tuesday. It's more than just who wins or loses.